Despite the intensity of competition in various fields of work around the world and the expression of aggression due to high odds, a good charisma and sportsman spirit always feels like a breath of fresh air following all the heat of the day. The same happened earlier today, when Senator Mitch McConnell in his address congratulated the new President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. The statement came a day after the voting of the electoral colleges was conducted, indicating the acknowledgement of the shift of governance from the Republicans to the Democrats, a case which had for so long been dragged and driven by multiple members of the Trump administration, especially ex-President Donald Trump himself. The address was about 10 minutes long and contained multiple topics worthy of interest, such as the performance of the Trump administration from immediately after assuming power after the Obama government to the presidential elections of 2020, especially the hand-in-hand performance of the governance and the healthcare body of the country to deal with the coronavirus pandemic in its management and invention of the vaccine, the change of political demographic, the tentative strategy of the Trump administration for the future, and wishes and acknowledgement towards the new administration. Starting off, the 78-year-old politician highlighted the achievements made during the presidential term of ex-President Donald Trump from 2017 till date. President Donald Trump has repeatedly surprised the skeptics, confounded his critics, and delivered significant policy victories that have strengthened our country. He brought to focus the performance in the COVID vaccine case, where Trump announced the deadline for the formulation of the vaccine by the end of the year. Initially, this was dismissed as a joke by almost everyone from the journalists to experts and critics, and McConnell even quoted two headlines directly which criticized Trump's prediction regarding the coronavirus vaccine sarcastically, after which he injected a bit of sarcasm himself while replying to the objections and remarks. With the genius of science, support from Congress and the bold leadership of the Trump administration, that medical miracle arrived right on schedule. The majority leader from Kentucky also criticized the previous government, blaming them for concentration and accumulation of wealth among the already wealthy. He held them responsible for the horrible financial condition of the people belonging to lower classes in the economic food chain. He credited Trump, his administration, the Republican community in the Senate and their policies for the booming job market, and the best working standards and conditions of the American workers in history. Unemployment hit an all-time low, capital markets hit an all-time high, and this time all kinds of Americans got the share in the gains. He continued to mention how the policies had proven beneficial for the working sector and how they had zeroed out the unfair individual mandate of the Obama governance. Regarding the foreign policy and trade agreements, he mentioned the treaties with Mexico, Canada, and Gulf states, and mentioned that Trump actually successfully managed to eradicate all energy crises and fossil fuel-related ideological war, boosted America's oil production past Saudi Arab, and formed bilateral tax treaties with partners in Europe. This was followed by the continued criticism of the Obama administration regarding foreign policy subject to Iran and Israel, stating that Trump formed better relationships with the Arabian partners as their base was common shared interests like eradication of radical Islamic terrorism, and Trump also capped the issue of the Iranian aggression, with the demise of defined threats to the United States like terrorist leaders al-Baghdadi and Soleimani. The mediation of the U.S. in the Abraham Accords signing between Israel and UAE, Sudan, Bahrain and Morocco, was also praised, and the praise extended to the commander-in-chief for reforming the military and rebuilding and modernizing the foreign policy from weakness and apology to a renewed posture of strength. He remarked that the new defense strategy will prove beneficial in the safeguard of the nation against competitors like Russia and China. He mentioned investments in cyber tech, space tech and advanced weaponry to ensure America's edge over its adversaries. Adding to the list was the VA Act that was signed in order to ensure the well-being and aid of the military servants after they have completed their service. The senator revealed that during Trump's time in the office, crimes and violations on the borders exhibited their lowest in the past 5 decades, owing to the increased border duty and protective measures put up by the government, and he summed up quite articulately by, "The list of American accomplishments since 2016 is nearly endless." Next were the judicial appointments, that of 3 Supreme Court judges and about 220 Article 3 federal judges in accordance and compliance with the Senate, which he commented will renew the judiciary for a generation and complete the need of judges that know, respect and fulfill the minimum job description. The acknowledgement of a new administration came in the end as of this morning, our country has officially a president-elect and a vice president-elect. Many millions of us had hoped that the presidential elections would yield a different result, but our system of government has processes to determine who will be sworn in on January the 20th. The Electoral College has spoken. He further extended his congratulations to both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on being elected the president and vice president respectively. A few lines of appreciation followed this, with the senator commending the president-elect's devotion for public service and the vice president stating that keeping their differences aside, her election as the first female vice president of the United States is a moment of pride for all Americans as a nation. His final words were the conclusion of both the speech and the electoral term for the senator. I look forward to finishing out the 36 days strong with President Trump. Our nation needs us to add another bipartisan chapter to this record, to this achievement. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, like, comment if you haven't already. Meet you with the new video.